Hi, I'm Elizabeth Gearhart with Fireside. I'm here with Tammy Severino with RPC Development. Tammy helps nonprofits succeed. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so how come people choose you over other consultants to help their nonprofit?
Well, oftentimes I come through referrals, past clients or folks who have worked on boards with me who know what my skill set is, have referred me to another nonprofit so that I can do the same on their behalf. Or some folks will find me on LinkedIn and they'll see the skill set that I have, the history that I have, and they'll reach out to me.
So if someone doesn't know somebody like you, how does a nonprofit find a fundraising consultant?
Often it is a good idea to ask folks that they know from the nonprofit community. They could ask people who are serving on their board for recommendations of people they may have encountered over time, or even to have their board members seek counsel from other people that they know serving on boards. It's a good idea to have someone who comes through referrals only because it does give you a sense of comfort in having another organization that you know and trust provide that linkage, that they've worked with this person, they know that person's style, their commitment to the work, and their ability to get the job done.
So why does a nonprofit need a fundraising consultant?
Well, often, particularly when you're dealing with new or smaller nonprofits, you're dealing with folks who created an entity because they saw a need in the community. So they did the thing that their heart drove them to do, and they created a nonprofit. And they've been laser focused oftentimes on the development of the program so that the work of the organization is where their head is at, but there's the need to then fund that work. And that's not necessarily their skill set. It may not even be the skill set of anyone serving on their board. So having a consultant is going to bring someone in who can do a number of things, from an audit, looking at anything they may have done in the past, to a strategy so that you have a roadmap that person may execute a particular campaign or strategy on their behalf and work with them so that they can develop those skills and then eventually stand on their own without that consultant to do the work that will fund the programs. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So how does a nonprofit develop a strategy?
I think part of it is to look at the goals. Those are goals in terms of the cost of the programs, what they're going to want to do, not just today, but next year, and maybe going as far as 3 years out, although no one would have predicted what we have going on now. But typically 3 years is about the length of that strategy. And then looking at the various fundraising tactics that exist. So whether that's special events or grants or corporate partnerships, whether they're looking at planned gifts, which is a really important long-term strategy, but you're looking at the short, you're looking at the long, and you're also looking at all the different demographics in the community, and then seeing which ones are the ones that the organization is most likely to be able to enact right away, which one's a little later, mid-road, and which one's a little further down, so that you're being comprehensive. It's like planning for your retirement. Although IBM is a great stock, you wouldn't invest everything in that. You have to be diversified so that you always have a portfolio that is well-rounded, comprehensive, and can stand the ups and downs of the market. You want to make sure that your development strategy can withstand any kinds of ups and downs so that you can consistently be successful.
So how does a nonprofit raise money?
Lots and lots of different ways. It always starts at home. So you want to make sure that your board is contributing, because if they're going to go out and ask, if someone were to say, well, are you giving? There can't be a hesitation. You have to be able to say, of course I give. This is a cause I believe in and I serve on the board. Further, if you're going for things like foundation grants, oftentimes the foundations will ask what percentage of your board makes a personal commitment. And it's the closer to 100% you get, the better off you are. There are foundation opportunities, government opportunities. There's direct support from corporations or even partnerships with corporations. You have individual donors, both large and small scale. There's special events, which we all know, everything from a local carnival to a gala to a golf outing to a conference. So there's lots of different types of special events. I think really the only limitation on special events is creativity and a good committee to put that together. You have direct mail, which now also includes electronic mail. I think most people at this point have started to hear about Giving Tuesday, which is the Tuesday following Thanksgiving. And that is an opportunity for the nonprofit community to ask its supporters to consider a gift to their work, to their organization, to contribute toward their work. And over the last decade or so, Giving Tuesday has become one of the single largest efforts for the nonprofit community, raising millions and millions of dollars. But there are all different types of tactics, and you have to sort of put together the strategy that really works best for the demographic that you're serving, for the people that you have who are interested in supporting you, and for growing out to new and future engaged supporters.
So can you talk about some of your clients? Who do you work with?
I work primarily with small and medium-sized organizations. I work with a preschool program for children with cancer that's based in both New York and Florida called the Morgan Center. I also work with the Michael Magro Foundation, which is another cancer-based organization that works supporting families that have a child either with cancer or another catastrophic illness. And those families are financially in real crisis due to the illness that they are contending with their child. I work with an organization called La Fuerza CDC, which is a community development corporation working with primarily minority and women small businesses on Long Island, and they provide both access to capital and a tremendous technical assistance program working with businesses that, particularly those that have been hard hit now by COVID, but in generally helping them to develop the financial track record that they need to be able to access capital to open a business or to grow out the business that they already have in small downtowns all over the region. So those are just a few of the ones that I'm working with right now.
Wow. You know what? It must just make your heart feel good to help these people.
It does. It's a long time ago when I became a mom. I remember going back to work and realizing that if I was going to have to leave my children to go to work, it's a wonderful thing to be able to do that and know that the purpose of my day is to make someone else's day better. And having RPC Development has given me the opportunity to be able to do that with small businesses over the last decade. Small organizations, I should say, not small businesses, but some of them have been real fledgling, like they've just gotten out of the starting gate, and some are growing to the point of needing to bring on full-time development staff. So watching them go from point A to point B is very exciting.
So for the fledgling ones that maybe don't have a lot of money,
right?
So how do I pay a nonprofit? Or how do I pay a consultant to help me raise money for my nonprofit?
It is hard. Because I like to work with small organizations, I keep my fee structure in alignment with being able to work with that demographic. Some consultancies are dealing with large scale organizations and their fee structure can reflect that a little better. But for nonprofits, it's very similar. If you were going to hire someone, whether it's an in-house person or an external person, there are going to be fees that go along with that. Fundraisers work hard. So they do have to charge in order to be able to support themselves, their households. So it's not a fee that is going to be relevant to percentage of what they bring in. Additionally, it does not serve the organization well, because if you've gone to a potential funder and said, I'm going to spend on this project for A, B, and C, but instead you're paying the fundraiser with those dollars and you didn't tell them that, you haven't been honest with the funder about how you're allocating those funds. So you don't want to be in that awkward position with a funder, whether it's an individual or a foundation or a corporation. So having operational dollars often starts with the board and then grows from there. But I try and scale smaller packages for smaller entities so that they can at least get their feet wet and start to grow from there.
That makes a lot of sense. So how did you get involved in this?
I kind of fell into development a long time ago. I worked for nonprofits as a full-time development director. I started, I got out of college really early, and I started in the field very low level, very young, and worked my way up to be an executive director. And then based on where my family was and where I was, it was time for me to sort of step foot into my own company. It allowed me to stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning and working when there's a deadline, and yet still be able to go to see the class play if one of my children was in it. So it gave me the balance that I needed and the opportunity to really be able to engage with organizations that I just thought had the most remarkable missions.
That's wonderful. So we are taping this in spring of 2021. We're hoping to be out of quarantine soon.
Let's hope soon.
So are things going to change, or what advice would you have for nonprofits going into the late 2021, say?
Well, I would say this to nonprofits and for-profits. Is to look at what you've done through COVID and see which components of what you've done online, on Zoom or whatever platform you're using, and how you can hybridize with your in-person activities. I think that many organizations had learned new techniques, new opportunities, that this was not all bad. This had tremendous potential. So to just close the laptop and say, we're done with this, is really shutting out all of the potential that this opened up. So to blend the old with the new and look at it as, as a chance to be even better than you were before.
That's excellent advice. So is there anything else that we need to know?
No, I think that organizations have to be practical. I think you need to set goals that challenge you. And this holds true for so many things, but set goals that challenge, stay positive, even on the days where it's really hard to, and work really hard. There will be challenges ahead. We have a lot of folks who are, whose financial positions changed, and so their ability to give may have changed, but there are others who increased their wealth vastly through COVID. So it's ensuring that you travel with flexibility, and in doing so, I believe that organizations will be able to thrive.
I agree 100%. Well, thank you, Tammy. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, and have a great day.